Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S. Another video. This is another one of my Italian football videos, or Italian football fan videos, or whatever you call it. Anyway, hope you're doing well wherever you're and staying safe and things like that in this crazy world. And as I say, this is another one of my list videos about football and my passions for football. And I'd love to discuss football in a way which could somehow encourage people who are not even into football to get into football. But anyway, these are some of my dreams for an Italian team called Roma, or AS Roma, known as Roma, but the full name is AS Roma. I can't remember what AS stands for. But yeah, so here are some of my dreams or thoughts or ideas or plans using my creative dyslexic imagination, if you like. And hopefully people from the club will see it and maybe implement them, and that could be part of my legacy perhaps, or whatever. Don't be too I hope that doesn't sound too narcissistic or big-headed, but anyway, I'm going to try not to waffle too much. And here are some ideas. As ever, please leave your own comments and suggest ideas or whatever you want to put in the comment section, hopefully positive, whatever you want to comment, as I often say. And here goes. So number one, Roma's nickname, I hope I pronounced this right, because I am a big fan of Italian football, but I don't actually speak Italian very much, or at all really. I know about 2 words or 3 words probably, but like ciao or 1 or 2 others, that's probably about it actually. Aqua, I think, means water, and that's about all I know. But anyway, the Giallo Rossi, which I think is named after the colours, like red, and it's got a bit of gold on the football kit. So anyway, I think it's pronounced the Giallo Rossi. But yeah, I thought it'd be interesting if the Giallo Rossi, i.e. Roma, had for those who might not know about football, who might want to get into football or whatever, Real Madrid used to be called, or they probably still are called, but they certainly were called the Galacticos. And I think because both start with J or G, my dyslexia, I mix J and G up. But anyway, because both start with the same letter, basically, due to my patterns and alliterations and things like that, I would love for Roma to somehow have the Galacticos, but I think Galacticos are not always seen in a positive light, even though they play entertaining football, which I would have thought people would have loved. But because they seem to have superstars and not a full team, I think it'd be great if Roma was like the Galacticos, the Giallo Rosso became like the Galacticos, but instead of although they would have superstar players, because I'd love for wealthy owners, which I hope to come to buy or to have shares in Roma. I would love for also for although I'd love them to have superstar players, I would also love them to have young players and also a great defence and goalkeeper, not just attack and midfield, but also play attacking football, but at the same time have good defence and a good defence and a good midfield and a good goalkeeper and things like that as well. Number 2, basically strengthen all over the pitch. But number 2, I say I would love for Roma to learn from Real Madrid on that note, and see what they can learn about Real Madrid, who are the most successful club team in the world, I'm sure. Certainly in Europe, and I think even in the world, because the most successful teams with the most money and all that, because they have the most money, are normally European ones in terms of football clubs. But yeah, so I'd love for Roma to learn from Real Madrid and see what they can learn. Like, imagine if they could, as they do, what Real Madrid. I don't imagine they'd be able to emulate them in terms of the successes they've won, like 13 Champions Leagues and things like that. Again, if you don't know much about football, hopefully you can find out these things and I'll inspire people to find out more about football. But for those who follow football, obviously they would know that Real Madrid are the most successful side in Europe. I'm sure most football fans will know that. They've won like 13 Champions Leagues and things like that. I don't imagine Roma being able to do that, certainly not anytime soon. It would be great if they could, like in the next, obviously it would take them at least 13 years, even if they won from next year, but or 14 years, But I think it would be great if they could learn about how Real Madrid won those events, how they won those tournaments, and how they could basically, as I say, learn as much as possible from teams like Real Madrid, but also Barcelona and all other sorts of teams, even some of the weaker teams, like what to avoid, like learning from other football clubs, as well as other national teams and other sports, and even the world of business, like how to attract investment, which could help to buy better players, as well as investing in the youth academies. Again, I hope to come to these things in more details. Number 3, I would look for as many shareholders and investors as possible to own shares or co-own shares in Roma, which I hope will help to achieve the first few goals. I'll talk about all these goals basically, because nowadays, as I have to mention, a lot of football is about money, or a lot of money is involved in football, especially nowadays. So I think it'd be great if they could have that money to. But I think not only just buy good players, but also develop good young players, especially for it, which will benefit Italy as well. So have football academies in and across Rome and the rest of Italy, and also invest in like youth academies to develop players. And like I think 10 to 50% of those in the youth academies, I think, should be Italian players. So also having players from like Africa and Asia and places like that, and Ireland and Latin America and places like that, but or even all over Europe as well, but especially Africa and Asia and Latin America and Australasia and places like that. But yeah, so I think most of them, well, I think not necessarily most, but I think 10 to 50%, actually, I suppose that would be half or less, but I think should be Italian. So hopefully they'll develop in the future. And also I think they should have 3 under 20. I'd love for Italian football generally to have 3 under 21 players in all senior games, so it develops more younger players. I'd love for the league to do that. I'd also love for them to legally be able to pay the least amount of taxes, and maybe work with charities and NGOs. So when they have those academies overseas, they won't have to pay hopefully too much tax, preferably zero or as close to zero as possible taxes in even the Americas or Asia or Africa or places like that. But the charity work they could do is develop young players there as well, fund some of their education and things like that as well. Number 4, on that note, as I say, I'd love for Fortune 500 companies and maybe even entire nations to invest in Italian football generally, including, of course, Roma. A specific idea, as say, for Roma compared to the other Italian teams is because they're called the Giallorossi, or however you pronounce it. I think it'd be great if they could be like the Galacticos. So that's a specific idea for Roma itself, but maybe it could be similar for other Italian teams, as all my ideas are. Number 5, as all my ideas in football are to benefit Italian football and Celtic. Number 5, again, I would love for like Fortune 500 companies and wealthy investors, the world's billionaires, and all sorts of people to invest in AS Roma and have as much shares in Roma as possible. So it would help the club financially, and the club could then. I would love also for the club to have its own account, and like fans maybe even to donate, and local businesses in Rome itself, and also just as many people as possible to own shares. And I even think of these quirky ideas, like if the club had its own bank account and its own or special bank account for the club, and have favourable deals, like interest rates could be favourable in their favour because banks could help them. Maybe banks could even invest in them as well. And because some people say when you have a business account here in the UK, anyway, I don't know about overseas, but they actually charge you money even just to put money into the account. So having a business account isn't always favourable, but maybe they could have, like I say, the most favourable rate. So I hope they will, and even banks to invest as well as sovereign wealth funds and others. And as I say, to pay the least amount of taxes, especially working with charities and NGOs, so they can reduce their tax burden and use that money instead of investing in academies, so they get something back in return. And also they could help the poorest people around with education. Again, I hope to come to that in these videos in part 3 as well, especially. But yeah, as many investors as possible, basically. Number 6, that includes like sponsorship deals, maybe even GoFundMe and crowdfundMe pages. And again, like fans could perhaps donate to the club, and like I think 10% of that money should go towards buying new players, 10% into youth development around the world, including in Italy itself and around the world, I say in Africa, Asia, and Latin America and elsewhere, basically in all possible countries, having football academies, which hopefully will produce great players in the future. Obviously not all of them will make it, but hopefully as many as possible. And for like parts of Asia and places like that, they could invest in like helping entrepreneurial education or entrepreneurship and education generally, in S.T.E.M and things like that. And also in Africa, support tech development, as I hope to come to, as I say. And I hope the players will be encouraged to learn to work as a team as well. As I say, they could be like the Galacticos, but also work more as a team and be strong in each area, not just have superstars. Number 7, as I say, I'd love for Roma, as well as all other Italian teams, to work with Celtic, including the Italian national team, and again for Roma to produce young players for Italy as well. But I think like because our rivals, the Rangers, have like they say no Pope of Rome. It would be like a bit of fun to have like a competition between Roma and Celtic where they practice, especially at youth level, where they say like the No Pub of Rome Cup for a bit of a joke as well. Number 8. I know Roma has already done this sort of stuff, for those who know, but they've done like things to welcome migrants and refugees into Italy through football, and I hope they continue to do that, and hopefully they'll be rewarded by people of colour supporting them a bit more. I know Italy unfortunately does have a problem with like racism and prejudice, so I think it would be great if Roma challenged some of that prejudice and stuff like that. Number 9, I would love for also artists across Rome, especially, or artists who are fans of Roma, like to create something like Artists for Roma, or talk about the writing. And I'd also love to listen to the fans about what their dreams and goals are for the club, like what they would love to see in 5 to 10 years' time. And also, I'd love for politicians and councillors from Rome, if not across Italy, but especially in Rome, to invest in Roma, just as the politicians and I think even the royal family in Madrid invest, or in Spain invest in Real Madrid. I would love for them to do similar, as they learning from Real Madrid. Talking on that note, I'd love for them to invest in the club as well, again, in terms of achieving these goals, like academies and spending on those sorts of things. Like, basically, if it goes into an account, it could be spent, like whatever money's in that account, 10% could be spent on buying players, 10% on the academies, and 10% on the charitable work and things like that, and whatever other costs the club incurs. So 60 or 70% could go to shareholders and things like that. And number 10, I hope, as I say, they'll build academies and youth development. And I am out. Peace and love.